Well, it's about time that we dive in and get over to pick and ban because it's already kicking off. So we're going to head over to the stage now. We were going to talk about the bottom lane for top esports as well because that's kind of a shark-infested bottom lane right there. But we can talk about that once we get into the game. But since Champ Select is underway, I'm going to take off my fishing gear, Dagda, and I'm going to start talking about League of Legends here. Well, it's time to get serious because, you know, when you look at the standings, top esports are needing some wins right now. We're going to start this draft off with a Kaisa first pick, very, very standard. A Felios ban is a little surprising to me. But then Karsa with an Olaf. We've got the Gragas, which is just an incredibly good blind pick as well.
Yeah, this is actually kind of eStar's respecting JackeyLove and Zhuo. As we said, they are insanely strong in this bottom lane, and they've actually been willing to pick the Felios into Kaisa, just shove under turret all day long. So respecting that. Top esports, though, going towards this Gragas. Already could be going towards Zhuo of 369. Karsa has played a little bit of the Gragas, but with the Olaf already locked in, that's out the window. On the upside, though, the Seraphine locked in. So we haven't actually seen a huge amount of Seraphine from our top teams, but definitely a lot of our kind of lower end teams have been toying with the idea of this Seraphine, trying to see what they can do. Great engage, strong in the mid lane, strong in that support role as well. And that flexibility in draft is so good for the Seraphine pick.
Yeah, really nice to see. 80% win rate so far as well. And another Hecarim coming through. We saw a bit of Hecarim yesterday. And Hacker is going to bring that one forward. But
he has a 10% win rate at the moment, so I'm not sure about the Hecarim, but we'll see how this one goes.
Hey, look, they managed to... Oh, wait, no, it lost yesterday as well, didn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Top esports, though, going to lock in this Tristana for JackeyLove. We're going to talk about this shark-infested bot lane. Zhuo and JackeyLove love to get kills. Tristana's pretty good at that.
Yeah, especially if you're setting up for kind of a kill lane. Like, you can go with this Gragas in the bot lane if you want the flash body slam into Tristana leaping on top of you as well. Huge amount of damage, huge amount of potential burst as well, especially when you hit that level 6 point. So the opportunity for top esports to double down on what has been the most dominant bot lane in the LPL in spring 2021.
Yeah, Sion getting removed from the table. This is something targeted towards ZS. He's been known to play a lot of frontline picks. Not really the kind of guy that wants to be massively a huge carry threat. He has actually had some good games on carries. I kind of wish they would lean towards him being a carry threat a little bit more, but what we have seen is a lot of frontline from him.
Yeah, and I mean, you can go towards the Narban here if you really want to as well. Just try and take away a lot of his comfort. Then you're kind of looking at the likes of the Ornn and these kind of things as the big, beefy top laners that we have seen. Because even then, the Gragas is already taken away by top esports. So you're starting to lead away from what has been ZS's more comfort-orientated picks. But we'll have to see if top esports decide to go towards that. For eStar here, they're very much focused on Nice. With the Twisted Fate band away, though, not seeing that kind of pick-orientated style that top esports have been playing, but we still have the likes of the Oriannas and even the Syndra still on board as well for either of these mid laners to be.
So Lulu taken off the board, as you say. Things like the Orianna, things like the Syndra, these are picks that we all know Knight for. Again, the Syndra hasn't felt as impactful in the most recent patches, but it's still possible to see it. And it's actually an Alistar ban, so both Orianna and Syndra still available. Now, he did just hover an Echo for a second there. It's worth talking about the fact that the Echo could be good into them, but Sylas is locked in. And obviously the Seraphine could be in the mid lane for Irma still, or it could go down to ShiauC.
Honestly, I'm kind of like surprised that we didn't get the confirmation of where this Gragas was going. I feel like taking your support here, especially with stuff like the Rel still open, probably would have been a nicer call just to guarantee a good matchup for yourself in the mid lane, because honestly, you're not certain where this Seraphine is going. It still could go down to this bottom side or could go into this mid lane, and I would have liked to see the flexibility left open for Nice, but it looks like Nice just like, cool, I don't really care. I mean, I'm looking at all these ultimates that are available on the eStar side between like the Hecarim and that Seraphine ultimate. I'm totally fine to go into these team fights and steal away a couple of these ultimates.
Yeah, you better believe it. And we're seeing the Thresh hover. Anyone that didn't watch last split won't know that ShiauC is a bit of a Thresh prince. The Thresh, the Blitzcrank were really the two picks that he blasted onto the scene with in 2020 eStar back in spring. And it feels good to see ShiauC on that Thresh once more, even though it's not been a big pick for him this split. Historically, it's been one of his exceptional standouts.
Yeah, he's played 11 unique picks this split, so he's been flexing a lot, but the Thresh has always been what he's known for, and he's gonna have his work cut out for him. especially in this bottom side of the map with Zhuo and this Tristana locked in with the Gragas. This is going to be a heap of pressure down in this bottom lane. You're going to be looking for ShiauC to try and kite out some of these engagements and make sure JackeyLove and Zhuo aren't just running away with that bot lane, because if they do, Top Esports have opted into kind of this 1-3-1 style, and if you have this Tristana up and running, it becomes very difficult to match side lanes and also the pressure that's going to be in this mid lane.
Yeah, she's real good at the team fights. She's real good at taking those towers. But I don't really want to talk about the Gragas in that bottom lane. I want to talk about what was just swapped there, because we got 369 on his Jax. Now, this will be the second time he plays it this split, but this is a classic for 369, especially when it came to the World Championship. Bin and 369 seem to just fall back in love with Jax all over again. This is one of the picks that you just know that he has the individual capability to take over with.
And honestly, it feeds into the way that Top Esports play. Because I think one of the most impressive thing about Top Esports is this team has the highest first blood rate in the LPL right now. But the curious thing is that Karsa actually has the 4th lowest first blood rate of any jungler. The entire thing is made up by just how strong these solo laners are, and their duo lane as well. Because their solo laners, both Knight and 369, are top 3 when it comes to solo kills. JackeyLove and Zhuo are top 2 when it comes to dual lane kills in the LPL. Like, having these strong solo lanes that you can play through is the bread and butter of Top Esports, and we're seeing it here once again with the counter pick for 369 in the top.
It's beautiful to see, and also kind of shutting down ZS. We talked about ZS being a guy that actually historically has liked to be the carry top laner, and he's had a couple of good performances on carry top laners, this Camille being one of them. But going into 369, allowing 369 to have that last pick means that they can shut down that window. And it's down to Irma and Rat to be the real carries. Rat realistically, because you expect with the Seraphine mid, it's very likely going to be that Moonstone build, so Irma is kind of going to be pushed back onto a much more defensive playstyle.
It's more so about like how this synergizes so well with ZS and Hacker, right? Because both these guys want to be diving into the backline, and then you just get this massive extended ultimate coming through from this Seraphine, and going to cause a lot of issues for Top Esports if they're trying to fight this front to back style. So I love the follow-up that this Seraphine is going to offer in towards these team fights, and especially when you're looking at ZS in the early stages of the game against this Jax, he'll have a reasonably okay time, but Jax will get to a point where he just outscales in those side lanes, so you'll be needing ZS to go towards this kind of Divine Sunder or Hysterics Gauge build, go towards these team fights, and set up alongside Irma for these big engagements.
We'll see if they're going to be able to set that up and if they're going to be able to find the team fights that they're looking for. But the one problem with that as a win condition against a team like Top Esports is often Top Esports don't really allow it to get to that point. This is the kind of win lane, win game sort of team that wants to go for skirmishes, and we're getting that exactly in the bottom lane. JackeyLove exhausted, and Top Esports are happy to take that. They're going to go, okay, well, we'll just end the trade there. We've got an exhaust out. That's a summon a spell for nothing. We're okay with that one.
And this is what we wanted to touch on, was just how dominant JackeyLove and Zhuo are, in this bottom side of the map. Like, they have a combined KDA of 15 of like 10 for JackeyLove, 6 for Zhuo. Their gold difference of 15 is 1,000 gold. They have the highest CS difference of 15, the highest XP difference of 15. Like, these guys in the bottom lane are unstoppable with the aggression and just being so obnoxious and in your face. So when you see a pairing like this with the Tristana and the Gragas, you know they're going to go ham over and over again in this bottom lane.
The shark-infested bottom lane, and they certainly smell blood in the water. That's one of the nice little interactions, though, you just saw in the top side, where you've got 369 and ZS trading back and forth. You'll see that every single time 369 pops the counter-strike, ZS will try and bounce into it to get the stun and then step out of the range of the stun. So it's the way that you have to... It doesn't seem intuitive when you first look at it, but it's the way that you have to play this matchup as the Camille.
Yeah, eventually, though, this Jax just takes over this matchup. You can already see he's got the push there in the top lane, but... Oh, actually, he's been engaged on top.
Oh, the all-in the bottom side. Rat getting the bomb stacked up onto him. The Ignite won't be enough. That was 3 summoners used, and it's 3 down on either side at this point with just ShiauC's flash available, but this will be a wave crashing in the bottom side.
So nice job to force Rat out of lane. However, if we look at this kind of top lane shenanigans that happened, Karsa wasn't able to get that top lane Scuttle Crab despite 369 having the push. So now he's running down towards his bottom side to make sure that he can secure his own scuttle. So bit of action kind of across the board here in this game, but certainly a big win for JackeyLove and Rat, especially when you look at that CS lead that's already been garnered for the Tristana.
Yeah, Rat falling behind a little bit in that bottom side, but you would expect that a bit, especially when it's JackeyLove and Zhuo. These guys, the criticisms we've had of Zhuo, let's just remember that this guy is a rookie coming into the split. Karsa has found Hacker in the jungle. 1v1 me, bro, screams Karsa as he charges forward, dives the towers, and now Irma should be able to at least answer the play. Gets himself a double buff for the mid lane. Knight in absolute shambles, wondering what on earth his jungler is doing.
That double buff is pretty big for Orma, because as you can see, being able to spam these spells is massive.
Oh, Rat's in trouble. Again, look at the damage out from JackeyLove. Pulled out on the Dark Passage. Now a hook thrown out, but JackeyLove hops away to safety. And they could actually hold this wave in a really awkward spot for eStar.
Now, it is Tristana, which makes it a little bit more difficult to hold, but definitely with the size of that wave, they'll be happy to just try and freeze this, force Rat into uncomfortable positions, and although you don't have Zhuo's flash, that engage potential is still sky high, so already top esports coming out of the gate swinging. And when we're looking at their team composition, how they scale better into these side lanes, this is where we're trying to see if JackeyLove can get a lead in bot, fantastic, he can have a lot of turret taking pressure, crack open the map for top esports and allow them to operate in these side lanes.
And I want to go back to something that I very briefly hit on before. We had one of our many all-ins in that bottom side of the map, and that's that while eStar would love to try and find these big teamfight engages in the big 5v5s, quite often what we end up seeing with top esports, similarly with IG as well, is that the compositions they draft, regardless of the win conditions, quite often come down to we have such huge advantages in the laning phase that we would just brute force skirmishes early on in the game and snowball from there. And it's going to be down to eStar to try and stop that happening early. And you can see Hacker trying to do that as he moves in on the top side. Stun from 369 though. I don't know if they're going to be able to achieve much here. A TP being channeled. ShiauC's on the way as well. 369. Ward hops and jumps on out. Hextech ultimatum available, but he's out of range. It's all gone awfully wrong for eStar.
Look at the bot lane though. Top esports, they're about to answer.
They certainly are. They're going to go for a dive onto Rat. He's been abandoned by his team, and he will be sent back down into the sewers. It's going to be JackeyLove to grab himself a bit of kill credit and probably a few plates, while Knight hammers away in the mid lane as well. Top esports already getting, what, like 600 gold off the back of this play, making a little bit more as another plate goes down. 369 survived everything. He's still full health. He's just farming away in the top lane.
And it's only a matter of time until they even turn this in towards a dragon. Like, they're trying to get this red buff. Doesn't really matter that they don't. Like, as you said, plates mid, plates bot, kills bot. And although 369 lost a little bit of CS top, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Now, ZS trying to answer.
Oh, Encore comes on through, and we want to hear a little bit more singing, Irma, because that's an easy pick on to Knight. Now an opportunity to go to Dragon as well. You can see the recall from Zhuo. Him and Karsa waiting in the wings, looking for a pick, but spotted by the scanner. That means that no pick will come through, but JackeyLove is on the scene. He's got a Noon Quiver. He is way ahead of Rat. If a skirmish does happen on this bottom side, watch out for JackeyLove.
Yeah, you can see there, or eStar would have loved to try and turn that into some sort of Rivet control or even Dragon, but with the fact that JackeyLove is so far ahead, having burnt that big ultimate from her in the mid lane, they just don't feel comfortable taking these fights, so rightfully back away. But again, you can already see, like, top esports starting to get control of this, and I like that eStar tried to be proactive, but they need to not as heavily commit members towards that top side, because as you can see, 369, he's got a huge amount of ways of disengaging, and when you're committing 4 members top, it's so easy for the rest of top esports to answer across the map.
And the really sad thing about that play as well for eStar was that if ZS could have just got in range for the ultimate, that play works. 369 goes down and maybe they can turn it into something, but it would have also been fine to just wait a little bit, try and get a Herald first and use that play to try and brute force a turret instead. But unfortunately, went a little bit awry, and Knight is taking some serious damage in the mid lane.
Yeah, this actually, well, Knight's going to walk away from it. He'll be all right. But with the priority that you have for Knight in this mid lane, and also the fact that 369 is kind of set himself up for a slow push in top, it looks like with Karsa coming back out onto the map, they'll look to try and use that double priority to see if they can move over towards this Rift Herald. But eStar have already started to come into this area and looking to start up before all those pieces land for top esports.
Well, it's been spotted, and both bot lanes are going to stay on the bottom side of the map. So this will be a 3v3 if we do see a fight for it. eStar on the Herald, and it looks like top esports are opting out for now. Karsa is just waiting off to the side, though. Does have flash available, but smite comes through from Hacker. Maybe it can be punished. 369 goes in, does get this stun, and they're just going to disengage. eStar managed to get away. They grabbed themselves a Herald, though. This is a big win for eStar.
I was actually wondering if eStar were going to take that fight. And when you come into an enclosed corridor... Oh, hang on, bot side.
Not again. Not like this. ShiauC the target this time. The bomb is stacking up. Exhaust does nothing against JackeyLove. He's already so huge.
Yeah, 2 kills already for this Tristana in the bottom lane. Very quickly going to be working up towards that Kraken Slayer. This is going to be insane. Like, he's going to get like 3 plates, possibly 4 plates just by himself. Like, that's insane. This JackeyLove pick is going to be so big in these fights.
Honestly, you can go Kraken Slayer in the Tristana, but with the targets that he's got on the enemy team, and with the fact that it's JackeyLove, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Gale Force just for more potential assassination on towards Irma and Ratcha in these fights.
And the problem is, how do you try contain JackeyLove, right? Because he's going to be able to quickly take this tower. There's the Kraken Slayer just completed. You can then just shift him around the map. You can move him up towards this mid lane, have your Sylas and Jax operating side lanes, kind of shut down how eStar want to play. He can threaten the mid lane tower. He can push and roam very effectively towards these side lanes as well to create man advantages. Like, it just becomes so easy for top esports to snowball off of JackeyLove at the bottom.
Well, to be fair, on the side of eStar, you ask how they can contain JackeyLove. Well, ShiauC has an ability called the box, and when I need to contain anything at home, I usually store it in a box of some kind. So there are storage options, but at least on the side of eStar.
The box doesn't have a lid.
Ah, that's true. There's no lid.
Yeah.
So, and he's Tristana, so he can just jump out again. Ah, there we go. So, logistical issues on the side of eStar, which is not something we usually talk about in League of Legends. But 369 now getting the double TPs on the top side. Irma comes in, on-court available. Knight has arrived. Irma going to hold on to the ulti for now. And it's just going to dissuade the play.
And there's not really much that you can really get here as eStar. It's kind of hoping and wishing that you can get some gold back in your favor. Because if ZS does get big enough here, there is an opportunity to just try and have this Camille push against the Jax, prevent top esports from taking over side lanes, and then you can look towards like Dragons and Rift Heralds and Barons to find these more team fight orientated styles. But unfortunately for them, they just haven't been able to find it. 369 has done a great job of avoiding it, and also having the support of Karsa and Knight here.
Yeah, Karsa and Knight have roamed up to stop the Herald play. It will get the charge on through, but they should be able to finish the Herald and keep the tower safe. So first tower of the game doesn't go eStar's way, and look where JackeyLove is. This will be the first tower going the way of top esports. He's already finished that Kraken Slayer, didn't go for the Gale Force in the end. Huge amounts of gold. Look at that, 610 straight into the pocket of JackeyLove. He has a 40 CS lead. He's already got some kills as well. JackeyLove probably represents like 40% of the gold lead that top esports has right now.
And that's what I wanted to comment on, was just, again, eStar committing 4 members topside. Rat's just screwed. He's got to give away that bot lane tower, and sure, he got a plate back in mid, but honestly, with a lot of resources being committed to that top side and only really getting that charge off of the Rift Herald, it wasn't worth it for eStars. And this is the problem, is that they're just not being efficient with where they place their resources, and that's been a continuous problem that I've had with them over the course of spring 2021.
We could have a little bit of a fight happening. Rat, you're on the weak side of the map, my friend. You don't get to push this far out away from the base. How on earth that E landed, I will never know. Maybe my screen's dodgy, but that looked a bit weird to me. Hacker trying to push Zhuo away, but it's another kill going the way of top esports. Rat has gone down once more, and he is just not having any kind of fun today. And you know what, JackeyLove, he's happy to grab a couple of Krugs on top of everything else. He'll shove these waves in. Rat, you can see him running his hand through his hair. He knows that this ain't going so hot for him.
And one of the things that top esports have excelled at is utilizing when one tower goes down. oftentimes they'll move 369. It looks like they're going to do it now. Down towards this bottom side. He'll play that extended lane, but it means that what they'll do is just shove in super hard. They'll rotate him up through river and back in towards the mid lane or that top side to look for dives, look for control of the enemy jungle. And it's this kind of push-pull that they play that's super interesting to watch, and how they're able to wring so much out of just these small advantages that they pick up on the map.
Yeah, but when we're talking about the advantages that they've picked up on the map, obviously they have the one tower. They've got a 2,000 gold lead and a Drake for themselves, and obviously the plates going into the pocket of JackeyLove, as you can see. But importantly, when you look at the CS numbers across the board, we've got a CS lead in that bottom lane for JackeyLove that is a tremendous lead. But even in the mid lane as well, Knight managing to pull himself a 30 CS lead, almost a 40 CS lead. And that's just based off of the laning phase alone, because Irma has gone for so many roams early on.
Yeah, and it's really starting to come back to bite them. You can see the first items coming through across the board. I hadn't picked up on it. Karsa's actually gone for a stride breaker this game. So not actually going with the usual gore drinker. He's just looking to try and catch people, use the pick potential, and especially when you've got a composition, as we said, that likes to play through these side lanes, this more pick-orientated style works so much better than the more team-fighting gore drinker build from the Olaf, and that's reflected as well in Knight, who's gone towards the Everfrost. This we've started to see creep up a little bit more, but certainly more of a team fight.
Oh, Raz! Oh, what is that damage? See you later, Rat. Oh. My goodness, JackeyLove, he's angry today. He is not messing around.
Yeah, I mean, look. This has just been an absolute stomp from JackeyLove. I really wish we just got to do a graphic on like the sharks in the bot lane, because you can see now, like, they get one whiff of blood, one opportunity, and they're just going to take that and run away with the entire game, or swim away with the entire game, I suppose, if we're sticking with the fishing stuff.
Yeah, these guys aren't fish anymore, though. They have grown into sharks, and it is something to behold. I do want to point out, despite what we were talking about before, ZS and Hacker have decided to both go for the Triforces this game, which I have to ask you, Dagda, if you've got two Triforces across your team, does that make it a Hex Force when you combine it together? How many sides of this
Power Ranger,
got?
definitely. I think that's how it works. It's maybe that's only Power Rangers. I think Hecarim, if you put him in the right skin, could look like a Power Ranger, so maybe that could work. But I'm actually not the biggest fan of
more of a Hecarim at this point.
Yeah, a Hex. Thank you. Well done. Well done. But, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the build from ZS. I would have preferred the Divine Sunder build coming through here, because honestly, I don't think you're going to end up winning out in side lanes. So as a Camille, just go towards this Divine Sunder in towards Hysterics Gauge build, and then you're more of a team fighter. You can lock down members, set up for the likes of Irma. The Triforce just doesn't really offer you enough survivability in team fights, and I think that's going to come to hurt eStar if they just try to play through side lane.
Well, unfortunately for them, I feel like maybe playing through side lanes is their only option, because I don't know if you can really team fight anymore. They're 5,000 gold down, almost 6. And they're just losing. It feels like they're losing a tower every couple of seconds at this point. A Herald goes down in the bottom side of the map. And we can see a recall come through from Knight, but he has TP, and the rest of the team isn't showing any signs of stopping. Hacker threatens the engage. Onslaught of Shadows in, but he's totally on his own. And now the TP back in from Knight. We called it before it happened. 4 members strong from eStar, but it's a 4 versus 4. JackeyLove's not even here yet. Great encore across the team, but there is no damage. And JackeyLove has arrived, bouncing through with the resets. It's 3 kills for top esports, and they can run straight towards the mid lane.
Yeah, and it's not even like they can get Baron or they can get everything. It's 18 minutes into this game. They have just snowballed completely out of control. They're going to crack down the last few of these outer turrets. And how do you try and hold on at eStar?
Like, let's not focus on how they try and hold on. Let's just focus on the fact that JackeyLove is quite happy to 1v1 a Camille as Tristana. Because, you know, Zhuo arrived there, but he was a little late to the party. That was definitely a 1v1 regardless. JackeyLove still had flash. Like, that, when the enemy Tristana can 1v1 your Camille, you know it's doomed. Those are the rules of League of Legends.
And when you're trying to engage here as Hacker, it's a 3 versus 4, and you're still losing out heavily, even when the rest of the team are like, this is a disaster. You know that this game is completely out of hand, and this is without even the Tristana, who's the most fed member of this top esports squad as well. You can see like the Phantom Dancer, the second item already completed for very quickly working towards Infinity Edge.
Well, ShiauC's been caught. The flash stun from 369. Zhuo gets the barrel in to finish off the kill. Wants a little bit of credit for himself. He's 3-0-5 and he's having a great game. Zhuo, the rookie on this squad. And it has to be said, we questioned a couple of times if he was being too over-aggressive in a few of their series. This game, when you've got JackeyLove this strong, there is no such thing as too aggressive when the rest of the team just wants to jump in alongside with you.
Yeah, and he's even gone for the Moonstone. Or actually, it's the Battle Song as well.
Oh
sorry,
my
to get him
God, another
in as quick as possible.
Irma gets out-encored. Out-encored in the top side.
Yeah, look. What do you do? Knight just takes it, and when you're ahead, it becomes as much of a boon for top esports that they've got this crazy engage coming through from the encore. JackeyLove has become a split pusher. He said, hold on, I know you're not your Sylas, I know you're Jax, but I'm just a Fed Tristana, and I can take towers just as well.
They're 9,000 gold up, Dagda. They're almost 2,000 gold per minute or something. Oh, hang on, no, that's not true. I can't do maths. Forget that. I didn't do well at school, okay? Let's just move on. Baron is going to come up right now, Dagda, and top esports are just waiting for that to happen. They know that this ward is here. Joe's going to walk up and clear that as the Baron's already been started. And I mean, how do you even check this as eStar? The trinket comes in. They know it's happening. They have to try and make their way into the play. Knight is going to play body block, as is Zhuo. They've both been spotted. JackeyLove as well was on a ward. Yeah, they're just going to finish this one off before they even get into the pit. Baron is gone. And now top esports are like, oh, you want a team fight? Sure, no worries. We'd love to have a team fight. Come on down. Into the mid lane we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This is just brutal from the side of top esports.
I feel like top esports got a bit impatient of waiting. You know, we had a 3-game series to start out our day, and they just went, nah, we don't want to deal with that. We're just going to take this game and run away with this. And this is probably going to be a sub 25-minute win. Like, this is absolutely insane.
This is disgusting. Hacker just gets out with his life. The heal from Irma there. Rat in the meantime is almost one shot in the face by the E from JackeyLove. They could just be sieging the towers at this point, by the way, but they'd rather dive and try and get more kills for themselves. But look at the top side. Massive wave crashing in. JackeyLove moving his way over as well. There's a blast cone for karsa to get into the base. There's another wave pushing mid as the top tower will go down. ShiauC gets the play, but look at the onslaught of shadows. It's the wrong Hecarim. It's Knight that does it across the team as top esports send fear into the hearts of eStar fans everywhere. It's going to be ZS just kicked away from the fight by JackeyLove as everything falls apart. 22 minutes on the clock. And this is going to be at minimum 2 inhibs, but I don't think top esports will stop there. They want to finish this one out. They've got reservations at HyDiLao for later, and they got to get there fast. Look at the damage onto Irma. What can man do against such reckless damage? The towers are eventually going to fall. The minions are here. They're backing away. Surely not. Surely they could just end the game. They were just baiting for the fight. They wanted a few more kills. JackeyLove goes back in. Damage onto ShiauC. And eStar kick back to the fountain. Top esports take a 17-2, 22.5-minute stomp of a victory over eStar in game 1.
That was insane. That was absolutely insane. Like,
That felt personal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's rather unfortunate that honestly this kind of just came down to the bot lane getting outclassed in a lot of situations. Rat and JackeyLove just weren't able to go toe-to-toe with Zhuo and JackeyLove, and you saw it reflected there, right? Where you end up getting a whole bunch of turret plates and kills onto this Tristana, and it unlocked Karsa to go and Karsa to play around the map, where he was keeping 369 in check. And even when eStar were investing 4 members towards that top side on 2 separate occasions, top esports were able to keep 369 safe. Once where he's able to get the flash away, and the second time you've got Knight and Karsa there. So every time eStar tried to do something, top esports were there to thwart it. And in the bottom lane, JackeyLove is just popping off.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was on the bot side, as you say, there was a massive lane difference, but also 369 is like, You can play him strong side or you can play him weak side. It doesn't matter. He's just going to win lane. Even when he's getting dived, he just flashes out. I cannot believe that they didn't get the kill when they 4-man top at level 4 or whatever it was. Oh, no, it was later than that. But
yeah,
couldn't get the Hextech ultimatum down. 369 walks away. And I feel like from that point on, eStar never really got another opportunity. They managed to sneak the Herald away, but even using the Herald, that actual tower push got thwarted while JackeyLove was pushing at the other side of the map. Like, every single moment of the game, Top Esports found something more every time eStar made a push.
Yeah, and look at the damage from JackeyLove.
That's
God
insane.
Damn it. But yeah, this was just stomp. Like, there's not much to break down. This was an outclassing in the bottom lane. Knight being able to wiggle his way into pretty much every situation eStar wanted to go for. And as well, like we called it at the beginning as well, like Knight has so many opportunities to go for fights here. When he's got the access, the onslaught of shadows, the encore, even stealing away the killer instinct as well, just to position in on top of people, to then use the Everfrost or get his chains down as well. Like, there's so many opportunities for this team to just pop off, and they did an insanely good job of it.
Yeah, it was truly something to behold, I think is the only way I could describe this game number one. And feels like Top Esports are not interested in dragging this one out. By the looks of things, they want to finish this series in under 45 minutes. We'll have to see if they can keep that rolling. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to assume that they can. I will say the sides could swap, though. That was Top Esports on the red side. eStar will have choice for the second game. I think most teams choose blue side, though, so we could just have a complete repeat of the draft. I don't know how you change this, aside from maybe banning Tristana, but I don't think it was just Tristana being the issue. I'm pretty sure JackeyLove can do that on things like Samira, things like Kaisa. You can still snowball.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, is like, it's even if you get rid of it, it's like, okay, well, even if you want to play a slower game from Top Esports in the bot lane, like we've seen them go towards the likes of the Senna, they just still pop off in the end anyway. It just kind of feels like an inevitability in a lot of situations with JackeyLove. Like, up until their series versus FPX, JackeyLove hadn't died before 15 minutes. Like, this guy has just been on an absolute tear alongside Zhuo.
Yeah.
They are the most dominant spot lane in the LPL. And unfortunately for Rat and ShiauC, they're now feeling the brunt of it. So I feel like even if you try and mix things up on that bottom side, it's just not going to make a difference.
Yeah, certainly in the laning phase, there are very few duos that have been able to hold up to JackeyLove and Zhuo. That is a scary thought as we move towards international competition. I can't wait to see how playoffs are going to pan out. But enough about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to a quick break. We're going to be back with game number 2 between eStar and Top Esports right after this.